Record. All right, should have been recording already. I missed out on that awesome music in the beginning. Anyway, right, we are going to start so it's not too late for us today on a Friday night. So, Val, over to you. Are you on?
Hey, Sandra, I'm on.
Awesome.
Sorry, I was having a few internet issues. So I'm finally on.
That's okay.
Okay, so today we're making the French onion soup. So I'm just going to show you what it actually looks like. I've just got it still in the oven. I'm just going to pop it out of the oven so it's nice and piping hot. Don't know if you guys can see this. See if I can just grab a glove. One sec. Just so I can pick it up and show you guys that this is the French onion soup, nice and hot. It's just come out of the oven. I don't know if you guys can see that. Sorry, I'll just grab this and I'll just tilt the screen down. So with the French onion soup, it's got a beautiful flavor, beautiful onion flavor through it. It's also got the nice crusty baguettes through it as well, and the Gruyere cheese to give it that French flavor. So Carolyn, were you going to get started or?
Yeah, I'll get started cooking it. Thanks for that, Val. And
that's okay.
This is really a really yummy dish of soup. We love it, and it's really, really easy. So we're just going to go straight into it. I've already got it here. French onion soup. So we want 3 ounces of Gruyere cheese, which I struggle to pronounce, so please forgive me if I say it wrong. However, it can be difficult to find. So tonight I'm just going to use tasty cheese. So that's a good replacement. It's an equivalent replacement. So we're just going to put it in there. Now this is actually from the US cookbook. So it's in ounces and grams, but you'll note that your Thermomix, your TM6 will actually convert when you're using cookie dough. It will convert to ounces when you're cooking.
Hey, Carolyn. There's another recipe. It's just called onion soup, and it's exactly the same, and it's in metric.
Bah.
Just so you know.
Okay, cool. But is it French? Oh, good. All right, so we're just going to put the lid back on, and we're just going to chop that up quickly. And this is really good because when you buy grated cheese from the shop, you'll have anti-caking and anti-caking and antifungal. So there's our cheese, and I'll click next, and it's going to tell us to put it into a bowl because we're going to use that to put it on our bread later when we bake it. I'll just take it. There we go. So next, we're going to place out 18 ounces of yellow onions cut in half, which was around 4.5 medium-sized onions. They're just brown onions. So yellow onions, brown onions, same. Pop that in there. An ounce of olive oil. Which is a little bit. Whoops, a little bit extra. And unsalted butter. 1 ounce of unsalted butter. So I'm just going to pop that in there. And half a teaspoon of salt. I'm actually not going to add salt because I think for us, the homemade stock, which I'll use, has enough salt in it. A couple of pinches of black pepper. Like that. So now what we're going to do, let that do its thing. It's now going to chop it for us first. So we'll do that first. And you really don't want to take a whiff when you do this because you might end up in tears. But I'll show you. So they're all chopped up. 10 seconds and they're all chopped and no tears. And then we're just going to keep the measuring cup in there and we're going to cook that. We're actually going to saute that. It says for 10 to 15 minutes. The more caramelized you go, so 15 minutes is a more caramelized. But for tonight, we're just going to do it at 10 minutes. And I'm just going to let that do its thing. Speed 1 on reverse. I'll hand back to you, Sandra.
Thank you. And I was just remembering there's a new collection on Cookie Do called No Waste, where you can use up all that onion peel. And it's like you can use it for broths and so on, slow cooked broths. And I also remember my grandmother used to make tea from onion peel because there's a lot of really good properties in the onion peel. So who knew? Also, when you make your vegetable stock paste, you don't need to peel your onion. You can throw in that onion peel as well. And it's got some really good vitamins there. So bit of information around that. So I'm going to start the crêpes Suzette whilst those onions are sauteing, because they do take 10 to 15 minutes. Now, this is a recipe on Cookie Do. Let me just hang on. Oh, gosh. All right, here we go. It's a recipe on Cookie Do. It's called Crêpes Suzette. And I'm just going to tap on it. And the first thing we're going to do, we're going to do the batter for the crepe. It's a very simple batter, very easy. We're going to start off with 120 grams of flour. And there 30 grams of caster sugar. There we go. And now it's just going to mix that together. I always skip that step because it's just going to mix anyway when we blend it. So it's an extra step really. 2 eggs. So it's 2 medium-sized eggs, 200 grams of milk. Now, if you wanted to make this dairy-free, you could use any plant-based milk. I used almond milk with my last batch and it turned out perfect. You can use rice milk, oat milk, whatever. See, you can't actually taste it in the crepe. And if you wanted to make it dairy-free, then you would add, instead of butter, you could add olive oil, 2 tablespoons of olive oil instead of 40 grams of butter. So this will make it dairy-free. So I'm going to add butter. I've melted that in the microwave. Pop that in there. And now it's just going to blend it all together. And the crepe batter is done. It's that simple. So 30 seconds on speed 3.5. Okay. And if you wanted to make it gluten-free, then you can just use gluten-free flour. Any gluten-free flour would work for this. So yeah, you can make these variations and it's quite a forgiving recipe. It'll turn out perfect anyway. So let me just grab a spatula. Okay, then we're just going to scrape down the sides of the bowl and we're going to add another 100 grams of milk. So it's got all up 300 grams of milk and 120 grams of flour. So it's quite a runny batter mix. And I'm just going to mix that again for 30 seconds. And then we're going to start on the citrus, what do you call it, sauce to pour over your crepe. So whilst that's going, I'll show you how to make the crepes on a fry pan. Okay, so I don't have any fancy equipment to make crepes. I just use a fry pan. Now, in regards to the fry pan, mine is 30 centimeters, a 30 centimeter non-stick fry pan. So it's got to be a pretty good fry pan. You don't, because it's got to be non-stick, and a nice large ladle. Okay. If you had a smaller fry pan, you would need a smaller ladle so your crepes don't come out too thick, because they shouldn't turn out too thick. All right, so our crepe batter is done. So I'll just pop that aside because we're going to start on the Suzette sauce. So the next steps just tell you how to do the crepes on the fry pan. So I'll just skip that. Let me just grab my other bowl. Great having 2 bowls, isn't it? All right, so now we're going to add orange peelings, and I'm going to show you how to peel. I've got a little bit of lemon here to peel. I've got one of these peelers that are from the mix shop. They're part of a kit, part of a kitchen toolkit. I'm not sure if you can get them now, but I guess any peeler could work. They're the best thing to peel lemon and orange, because you don't get any or very minimal white pith. So you can't get that white pith in there. Otherwise, your sauce will be very bitter. So it's really important that it's as thin as possible. So we're going to add peelings of 1 orange and peelings of 1 lemon. So over there, pop that in there. And we're going to add 50 grams of sugar. And we're going to chop that all up into, so it's just going to zest it. 10 seconds on speed 10. The smell is already amazing. So you don't need to get that zester and zest all of this, because you just chop it all up with the sugar, okay? So that's all you need to do. We have one that didn't chop for some reason. I'll just pop that one aside, doesn't matter. Scrape down the sides of the bowl, and we're gonna just do it again, just so to make sure it's nice and fine. So then that sauce, you're not getting like larger pieces of zest. And just gonna do that again for another 10 seconds. Okay, now it says to scrape down the sides again, but now we're going to add the juice of the orange peel that we used. Okay, juice of 1 orange. And 60, it says the 60 grams of Grand Marnier. Now that's basically just an orange flavored, what do you call it, liqueur. But I'm going to use Cointreau, which is same, just a different brand. So 60 grams. Okay, went over, but it doesn't matter. Still yummy. All right, scrape down the sides of the bowl. Now this is going to cook for 3 minutes. Now it's cooking at 100 degrees. So what happens when it's cooking at 100 degrees is that alcohol is still going to be there. So if you have kids who are going to be eating this, then cook it on varoma temperature for the same amount of time. And when it does, it boils the liquid, and it boils off that alcohol. So you still got the flavor, but not the alcohol content in. Look, you're probably left with a teeny weeny bit, but nothing that's going to, cause anything to your kids. All right. Or if you've got somebody who can't have alcohol, a friend who's pregnant, you can even totally leave it out. You can just leave it out. You don't need to put it in. And if you want more of that orangey flavor, you could maybe add some, orange essential oil maybe. Oops, I just skipped that step for the cooking. All right, so 3 minutes. So we'll just wait for that. I've already so I'm going to put this aside so I can make some room here. And Carolyn, tell me when you're ready, okay? Okay, so I've got, because I don't want to have my back to you doing it over there. I've got one of my camping little stovetops here. And I had this already on for a few minutes because I need this pan to be really hot. It needs to be really hot. Now, if your fry pan is a bit dodgy, like, you can stick a little, what you can do is just have a little bit of butter and have one of these brushes. Let me just rinse mine. And brush the pan. Brush the pan with oil. Now, because the batter has gee, that's really heating up, isn't it? Because the batter either has the olive oil or the butter, it's quite an oily, not very oily, but it won't stick as much as if it didn't have the oil. All right, so I'm just going to put a bit of butter, and I'm going to grab my batter. I'm really worried about this and the flame, so I'm going to remove this because I don't want to be set on fire. All right. Okay, so then you grab your ladle and you pour it into the middle of the fry pan. And as soon as you pour, you've got to move your fry pan around so it spreads out evenly, okay? You've got to be quick Okay, so that's one done. Now, the right time to remove the crepe from the pan, from the fry pan, is you start to see around the edges, it starts to brown. When you see that it's browning nicely, that's when you can flip it. Now, I'm no expert in flipping it with the fry pan because this fry pan just won't allow me to do it because it's got the raised edges. It's not a proper crepe fry pan. Okay, so I'm going to show you how we can do it. Now, it may look like I will burn my hands, but I won't. So what I do, as soon as I see that around the edge is brown, I just lift it up with a spatula and then I grab my fingers and then just do that. Okay, so I did not burn my fingers. It was really easy. And then just give it another few minutes on there.
I'm ready, Sandra, if you're ready for me.
Oh, okay. Yep, I'm ready for you. Go for it. Okay.
So that's now finished that section. And now it's going to ask us, I'll show you. So and onions have reduced down, but it's telling us we now need to just scrape the bottom of the bowl. And it's not burnt. So I'm happy that it's not burnt, but sometimes you can, this recipe does say that it can burn a bit. So yeah, just take care. And if you need to clean it, there's lots of tips how to clean it. I love gumption. Just a scrub with gumption always gets it clean for me. Yeah, so that's my trick to how to clean it. So insert the measuring cup into the mixing bowl, and then we're going to cook it again for another 10 to 15 minutes, but we're going to do 10 minutes today. And on just a soft stir and on reverse.
Okay, so back to me. Carolyn?
Yes. Yep, sorry.
Yeah, okay, awesome. That's all right. So those 3 minutes are up and it's cooked that nicely. Now, I'm not going to cook this one on Baroma because I've actually got a batch already for the kids. This one will be for the adults because you can taste a little bit of that alcohol. Now we're going to add, you do need to let the bowl, the contents in the bowl go down to 60 degrees before you can proceed to the next step. I am going to take a shot and put the butter in there anyway. It's at, let's see, the bowl will tell you it's on 85, but I am going to take a gamble so we don't waste time. Pop the lid on, and now it's just going to mix it all for 20 seconds on speed 5. And then that sauce is done, that easy. So I'm going to show you how to do another crepe. So we'll just wait for that to finish. Okay, so turn the fry pan back on so it's nice and hot. It really needs to be nice and hot. If it's not, then they're not going to work very well. Okay, here we go. So that sauce is done. Okay, smells so good. There we go. All right, so it's quite a runny sauce, but when it cools down, it does thicken up a little because of that butter. All right, so I'm not going to butter the pan because the fry pan, because I know with this fry pan, I don't need to do it. So I've got my ladle. Again, you drop it in the middle and you go round and round until you get a nice circle. And then what you see happening is it starts to cook from the edges in. You can see it happening there. So once you see that that's all cooked and you see the edges brown, remember you lift it up with a fry pan, with a spatula, and then you can pick it up with your fingers. So we'll just wait for that one to happen. Okay, there we go. So it lifts up really easily. And then I can, that one worked. Okay, all right. All right, well, this one is still edible. Let me try another one. That really happens, but it had to happen on Zoom, right? Okay, all right. I just needed it to be there a little bit longer, because if it's not there long enough, if you don't see that edge brown enough, what happens is when you pick it up, it does break. Okay, we'll try one more. Okay, so who's never made a crepe before? Anyone?
I haven't tried crepes. I've only made pancakes. But I found out a fun fact the other day that apparently in South Africa, our pancakes are called crepes.
Oh, really?
Oh, no,
that's
sorry,
interesting.
the other way around. Our crepes are called pancakes.
Pancakes. Okay, well, that's interesting, because when I was in Portugal, I had an argument with my brother-in-law over what was a crepe and what was a pancake. So probably comes from there. All right, well, that one works. And I'll do one more, and then we are done here, and I'll show you how to assemble the Crêpes Suzette. Okay, and then you can just pop it on the plate like that. All right, one more, because the second one was a flop. And look, it does happen, but don't be hard on yourself. So it makes around 10. So this batter makes a lot. Okay. All right. So now, because the pan is really hot, it's working a lot faster. So we've got some people on the call who've never made a crepe. So you're going to make one, try it after today. I love to see what you do. So if you do make crepes, post it on our socials so we can see how it turned out. There we go. So yeah, I don't burn my fingers because I'm only grabbing the edge, and I lift up the edge with the spatula. So you're not going to hurt yourself. And you want me to try the flip? No, that won't work out. Better not. All right. Okay, well, I'm sure you got the gist. So let me just put this aside, and I will show you how to assemble the crepe. Okay, so we put it on a plate, and then you need a brush, and you've got your batter in there, and you're going to brush the crepe all the way to the edges. Look, as much as possible. This sauce is so yum. Everyone will be licking their fingers. Now you can serve this with a bit of ice cream as well. A bit more in the middle. And then we fold it. And then we brush it again over here with some sauce. Again, don't be skimpy on the sauce. And we fold it again. And you have, now let me just get a nice plate, clean plate like that. And we pour some sauce on top. And then if you want to be really fancy, you can have an orange or a lemon slice for some decoration. And there is our Crêpes Suzette. There we go. All right, so yeah, let me know if you guys try this. It is delicious. Now I'm going to show you something. I have 3 lemons here because this is all we've been making these last few days. So this is the zest. Lemons without zest, because we've just been eating Crêpes Suzette like crazy. But I'm going to make some lemonade out of these. So definitely they won't go to waste. Okay, how are you going, Carolyn?
I've got just under 3 minutes left to go.
Okay, all right. Do you want to share some tips with this soup in regards to the stock? I know you were talking about that with Val earlier today.
Yeah, do you want to talk, Val?
Yeah, so with the stock, essentially you can use, the recipe does call for the stock cubes, but obviously, you know, if you've got your stock paste in the fridge, you can go for either chicken or beef stock paste. And the recipe only asks for about 1 heaped teaspoon of stock paste to put in the final stages of the cooking. Obviously, as Carolyn said, you know, if you find that you know, with this, if you are using the stock concentrate, it can be a bit saltier. So you can omit the the salt at the beginning of the recipe because it may just be a touch too salty. But then again, before you do pop them in the oven, you always, you can still taste it and adjust the seasoning according to your taste if it's not too salty. Do you have any tips, Carolyn?
Yeah, awesome. So thanks, Val. I want to share this tip with the sauce. So I'll just put it in a jar and put it in the fridge. Now, it can go quite hard because of the butter, but it's also got the alcohol in there. So if you didn't cook off that alcohol, it'll still stay liquid, and then you can warm it up when you've put it on the crepe and then warm it up in the microwave. Okay, so you're probably ready now, Carolyn?
Yep, getting there. It's one minute left.
Okay.
But yeah, I was going to say too, because we're going to add water into the soup, and you can replace that with a white wine if you like. I've made it before with white wine and it's really nice. But yeah, so if you like white wine, you can add that. And yeah, gives it a bit more depth and a bit more flavour. Yeah, but that's cooking away. Like I said, yeah, you can cook it for up to 15 minutes in both sections of cooking the onion, and it just gives it that more caramelized flavour. So depending on what you prefer, you can do that. Yeah, yeah, nearly there.
Yeah, whilst you're doing that, I'm continuing with the crepes.
Yum.
Yum. Sorry?
They look great.
Oh, it is so yummy. You can't stop at one. So like yesterday we did 2 batches and today another batch. Yeah. And the batch I did earlier today, I did it gluten-free and dairy-free. I'm a bit intolerant. So yeah. Okay.
There we go. All right. So, and that's reduced down a little bit more, and you can hear it bubbling, and the smell is, it smells delicious. So again, we're just going to scrape down the bottom. This has slightly burnt on the bottom, it caramelized, but that's okay because that'll wash off, and I can scrape that because that's going to give us those extra flavors. But if you just scrape it off, it does scrape. Most of it scrapes off with the spatula.
I was going to say it definitely adds to the flavor.
And it also, with the caramelization on the base of the bowl, by scraping it, it actually melts whilst it's cooking. So when it is finished, most of it does come off. And if it doesn't come off, you just put it on browning with a bit of vinegar and a bit of water, and it just wipes off. But mine, most of it came off.
Yeah.
Cooking.
Yeah, it will come off. All right, so next we're going to put in 2 teaspoons of all-purpose flour, which is just plain flour. And I'm just using, these are the measuring spoons from the mix shop, and they're so pretty, and they've got, it has half a tablespoon, and it also goes down to 1/8 of a tablespoon, which most don't do. Most just only, the ones that I found, it were only a tablespoon, a teaspoon, half a teaspoon and 1/4 of a teaspoon. But they're so pretty. They're really nice. 32 ounces of water. For tonight, we will add water, not wine, but we'll pop that in. I think it's so clever how the Thermomix will switch between ounces and grams. Oh, look at that, 32.1. And now our stock cube. So it does actually say in the recipe that you can use the stock concentrate paste. I'm going to use beef, which I've just made. It's getting a bit low. I'll need to fill that up again. And I've just taken this straight from the freezer and I've just scooped it so it doesn't actually freeze. If you haven't made it, make it. It takes your cooking to a whole new level.
You know, I have never made the beef stock paste.
You have to make
never.
It. Wow.
I've made the chicken, which is amazing, but never tried the beef one.
Yeah, beef. It's great too. It's really good. All right, so now we're going to pop that in, and that is going to cook. We're going to mix that, first. Jumping ahead of myself. So we'll just mix that on reverse. We want to keep those onions. We want to keep the texture of those onions. You could chop it. You could puree it. If you don't like the texture of the onions, you could puree it. Blech, puree it at the end. So keeping the measuring cup in, we're now going to cook that for 20 minutes on 212 degrees Fahrenheit. So I don't know how to convert without my calculator. So we're going to leave that cooking.
110 degrees.
Thanks, Val.
All right, well, whilst that's cooking, Val's going to show what it looks like in the end and what she does before it goes in the oven.
Yeah. Sorry, Carolyn, were you talking about the temperature that's on the thermi or the temperature that's on the oven?
The thermi.
The thermi, I think it's about 100 degrees.
Okay.
Yeah, about 100 degrees. So now, once that the final stage, so once it's cooked for 20 minutes, what you need to do is you need to pour them into soup bowls, but they have to be oven safe. So I've got like little ramekins, so they're just enough, so the perfect size for the kids. But I also made them, obviously made it in a bigger bowl. So the leftover, I poured just in a bigger bowl and I've just put the rest of it in there. So what you need to do is you need to get, you need to use stale or like a day old baguette if you want to be, you know, make it more of a, to continue with the French theme. I didn't have a baguette. I just had just a ring roll that I bought just from the European bakery. But what I did, because it's a bit soft, because it's in the plastic, what I did just to crisp it up a bit, I've just cut them up into little slices and I just put them on a baking tray and just popped them in the oven. Whilst the oven was warming up for the soup, I just popped them in there for about 10 minutes just so they become a bit crispy. So then what we do, the recipe says 2 slices of the baguette. You can put more than 2 if you want. So what you do, I don't know if you guys can see that, I'll just pop it down. So what you do, so that's the consistency of the soup once it's finished after the 20-minute, once it's cooked for 20 minutes. So you just get the sliced bread and you just pop a couple of slices. I'll only put 2 on there because it only fits 2. And then you get your cheese, whether it's tasty or the Gruyere cheese, and you just sprinkle that on top, just like that. You can be a bit generous if you want to, because what's going to happen now is when we pop these in the oven, they'll then brown, so they'll turn out like this. They'll turn out like that, and they're ready to eat. And they smell absolutely divine. But yeah, so that's pretty much how to assemble it. Do you have any more tips on that, Carolyn?
No, I think that's it. Covered.
I think that's it. Exactly. Thanks for sharing all those awesome tips, girls. All right. Well, we're finished. We have finished our French Bistro Masterclass. Hope you enjoyed it. Let us know if you make any of these dishes and post them on our socials. We would love to see what you came up with. If you do any variations. Oh, I want to talk about the Crêpes Suzette as well. I'm actually intolerant to orange, so you can just add lemon if you want, or you can just add orange. So you can, I think traditionally it's with lemon and sugar. So you can make those changes as well. Now, keep a lookout for our next masterclass. It's next Friday. It will be a morning class at 11 a.m. It is going to be recorded if you can't join us. It's a Greek masterclass. We're calling it the Greek Goddess. So me and one of my consultants, who obviously is Greek, is going to be sharing us her awesome tips around things that we can do with phyllo pastry. And we're cooking something very similar to a galakta bureko. Did I say that right? Which is absolutely delicious. So join us next Friday for 11 a.m. Yeah, and thanks for joining us again tonight, and have a great weekend. Thank you so much. Look, watch out for the recording if you need it, and share it with your friends. Share our recordings far and wide to get the Blade Runners out there. We really appreciate your help in that matter. Thank you, guys. Oh, hi, Elia. Thanks for joining us. Have a great weekend.
Thanks
Bye.
for watching.
Okay.
From Perth. You're on mute, Sandra.
I can't believe during that whole time in the beginning, hang on, let me.
What happened?
I was playing, oh, hang on. I was playing like this beautiful French
stop
music.
recording. Stop recording.
And I was on mute the whole time.